Okay, I think we are live. Let's go to videos so I can check out chat to make sure everyone can hear me. And of course, it's not there. So let's try firing that up again. Sorry about this. Where's my live? Can you guys hear me? I can barely read. I have to get close to be able to read that. I can't find where the heck is the broadcast? Justin, you able to hear me? Okay, good. It'd be nice if I could fire up chat here. It's kind of interesting that doesn't show up. May just be really delayed because everybody in New York is on the internet right now. 20-minute uploads are taking 3 hours. Huh. Still not showing it. All right, let me try going to YouTube Studio. That's never happened before. I hope everybody is doing as well as can be expected, and getting the things that you need. Okay, and let's open this up and yay. Okay, and get chat all on its own. Okay, I think this might work. I have no idea why YouTube didn't want to cooperate there. Let's come back a little bit, see who is here. Boxcar Rick, thanks for joining us. Justin, thank you, sir, for helping out tonight. Tracy, hello, welcome back. Alpha 007, hello. Stephen Sard. Rhymba, Dosh, Florida Vapes, yes. T-Gats, welcome. Scott Bogfoot, welcome back. Hello. Andy H, Tech Guy Brian, Jeff Black. Come on, scroll up, scroll up. Forrest, hello, everybody. Thank you for coming by tonight. I know with everything being so crazy and stuff. Well, sure as heck here is crazy here in New York. And it's going to get so much worse in the next couple months. Um, Alexander, hello. Mark Diskin, welcome. Midwest Vapor, yo, yo. I did it again. I don't have my mods here with me. I've just been zooming around. I'm not going to the other room. I'm so sick and tired of it. I'm like, anyway, just been vaping 70 VG with a touch of mint today because I'm not going to taste anything. It's all about anxiety and worries and trying to get this, trying to get that, and setting up the family and coordinating with friends and all kinds of stuff. And why am I getting reflections? Try to get rid of them. Okay. Uh, Justin just got a message from his job saying your business is critical and won't shut down. Boy, that's a mixed message. Hector Lecter, welcome from Poland. Range of Vapes, howdy. Yeah, so well, what I was on was the eFusion Duo again, the mother of pearl panels, which I like, stainless steel with the intake dual, and then I was also bouncing around on the clutch again with the Goon 1.5. Those seem to be for this month. I just don't even want to deal with. I don't even want to deal with wicking. There's just so much else on our minds here, at least. Last thing I'm looking at is playing around and trying different things and stuff like that. Whatever close. When I need it, just grab it. Yes, Jeff, trying to do it, and concerns with the family, some situations and stuff. So that's a tough one. Chris Adito, welcome. So this is the mug of the month, a nice crumply one. I thought that's a nice touch. Gift from the family. Let let's see. Let me just try this again, and then we'll start diving into the topic for this week. And it looks like there will be no more Wednesdays. It was just too hard to set that up. Nope. YouTube refuses to acknowledge. Ah, that's funny. I did a refresh, and there it is. Okay, cool. Um, what was I talking about? YouTube and refreshing and oh, Wednesdays. There won't be a Wednesday Power Hour anymore. That was getting just too hard. I know it's a lot more convenient for the EU and certainly for Asia, but it was just getting impossible for me to find that time to do that in the middle of the day. And so my apologies to those who that was more convenient for. But it'll just be the Sunday night 7 o'clock. Now that could change certainly as the situation changes, or um, I become less and less busy, more and more insane, being stuck in the house. Though with my limited mobility anyway, I was pretty well stuck in the house. But now you don't even want to step out. I don't want to touch a railing. I don't want to touch a door handle to get out of the building because then I got to come back and wash my hands like crazy. You just want to like sleep for 4 months. So it's certainly interesting. Sergio, hey, welcome. Hector Lecter was always using six mods and builds. Now it's just one mouth to lung. Yeah, I think a lot of people are back to simplicity. Once it becomes a little more routine, I think, and the daily horror just becomes the daily horror, that then we'll say, okay, want to try this, want to try that. I think some people be like, all right, I've been stuck in the house with the same mod for 2 months. I'm shopping, and try some different things too. Ah, okay. Well, today we had a kind of a different topic, and this is one where I wanted to kind of help out people who normally no one wants to help out. But yeah, times are changing. Everything's upside down in the country, so let's try this and see what happens. And maybe that's my trolls. Now, I don't get a lot of them, but lately I've been pretty disappointed. Um, it's been no originality in what they say. When they do strike, it's just with the same four-letter words. Mother effer, substitute as necessary, and things like that. And I can get that from any 7-year-old in the playground. Toss him a quarter, and he'll give me something that'll make my skin peel off. Come on, New York 7-year-olds, they know all the good stuff. Now, I, I I just feel strongly that if you're going to do something, do it right. Take pride in your work. Have fun with it. It- Revel in the knowledge that you are going to cause me to lose my will to live. I mean, this is why you're a troll, because you want to accomplish something. Well, take the effort and make the effort to actually have an effect. And so to help you out, I have some hints. And number one, don't be lazy. Be original. Come up with something new. Forget the four-letter words. I mean, would anybody hurt you or affect you or make you curl up into a whimpering little ball in a corner of the room if they hit you with a string of four-letter words? No, you would laugh, which is what I do with your attacks on me. So take the time to come up with unique words, combinations of words. I'm not asking you to scroll through the dictionary and stuff like that, but try to come up with a few things. And to help you out, I have three devastating examples, things that would have questioned my life on this planet if I have received them from somebody. And certainly, if you have any kids, hide them right now because these are pretty bad. The first one, and I never remember these, so I'm going to actually cheat here. The first one, someone could call me a sheep shagging ram reamer. Yeah, that's terrifying. Another one, and it's getting hard to read these. A bear banging seal sucker. Can you imagine getting that? The horror of receiving something like that from somebody. And then the last one, just as inspiration, though, as hard as it is for me to read it, a puppy pounding llama liquor. That would have destroyed me if I got it. And I'm hoping it can give you the inspiration to assault me in a way that has an effect, other than me just laughing hysterically at the efforts I've received up to date. And again, it's the disappointment. Take take some concern, take some care, uh, take pride in what you do. I have confidence in you. I know you can do it. Good luck. And with that, those are my tips for trolling more effectively. And holy crap, 20 minutes less yapping than I normally do. So we'll see if anyone can step up to the plate, and I hope so. If not, I don't know. I don't want to do another tutorial. I'll just laugh at people. But let's see what we can come up with here. Ah. Scott Bachfoot, that is so true. James Pennell, llama liquors. Well, you have to try it. The smell is mind-boggling. It's hard to get close. They really just don't trust people that much. Not there. What about battery sucker? You battery sucker. Well, see, okay, but tag, start combining and tagging, sequencing things and stuff like that. My battery sucking lipo liquor or something like that, or find your own verbs to work with. Tony Laura, you'll be able to come back. We're all going to have a lot of free time soon. Jeff Young, hey, thanks for joining us. James Potts, show us how mature they are. Yeah, anything other than the four-letter words. Come on. I mean, I did have a little fun. Oh, it was a couple months ago with someone who just, mother effer. And I'm like, well, hey, thanks for that, and you mother effer. I'm like, well, yes, you said that before. Thank you, very much. And then I think they said something else, and then you mother effer. And I'm like, oh, okay. And that gave them a couple suggestions, and they kept saying you mother effer. And I'm like, what is going on? Just no creativity, no originality, even with some tips. And so finally, okay, blocked. Yeah, vaping Irish. Yeah, that's a true devastation. But it sure gets you to figure out what the heck is going on. Tony Laura, welcome. Yeah, I've gotten some interesting feedback on the last Minding Your Maws with cells suddenly dying. And I mean, it's not more common than I thought, of 1,000 people watched and 20, 15 leave comments. That's not a lot of blown up cells, but actually that is kind of a lot of blown up cells. More than 1%. Oh, I didn't think of that. But it's over years for each person talking about their experiences. But it's interesting to see because it was a mix of the classic China rewraps and OEM wrapped quality cells. So either it's a low grade stuff that just isn't lasting very long, or we're just abusing them a lot more than I think we are. Stefan Sard, the ultimate. Engineers are just math students who couldn't hack theoretical physics. I was awesome in physics, but went into electronics. Or just math students, interesting, who couldn't hack theoretical physics. Do the math students get theoretical? Aren't all physics theoretical? Well, actually, not. Ooh, there's a debate for you. Is all physics theoretical? At a certain point, though, you go, no, this is accepted. Thanks, Florida Vapes. Phil Pye, hello, welcome for joining us. Mark Diskin said he only happened to failure with a stacked series. Good cells. Yeah, I mean, even if you had 8 cells in series, that wouldn't inherently mean one cell was going to fail or not. It's really how hard you're using it. In fact, in a series mod, I'd be inclined to think it was even less liable to happen because in a series mech, you're using it lower current levels than you would in a single battery mech. Vaping Irish. Oh, okay, your chemistry thing. Jeff Young, anyone knows a group where I can get a lipo for your VaporShark DNA 250? I've got a couple requests for that too, so if anyone posts here, that'd be good. Um, I mean, certainly, once you know the dimensions, you can go to hobbylobby.com or a place like that, and just find a LiPo, which you hope has a decent rating. You don't need 100C rated LiPo, 20C or something like that. And just find the right dimensions. And for the connectors, that might be tough, but you may have to put the connector on yourself. Snip off the old one, strip the wire leads, and solder the connector from the other pack onto yours. Stephen Sard, honestly, in my opinion, yes, all math is theoretical, since what may apply in this plane may not necessarily apply in others. Also, math can be used to disprove math, so theoretical for sure. Yeah, I guess physics is math, but I was talking primarily about physics, but because for me, I'm a big fan, cosmology, astrophysics, astronomy, some, it's fascinating for me. It's just the more we know, the more we realize what we don't know. We move up 1% in our knowledge, and then we dump back down 1,000%, dark matter, dark energy, for example. Jeez. Think we get a decent handle on things? Kabam. Or Hubble, what was it, 1928? Wow, look how big the universe is, our galaxy is huge. And then he goes, no, those aren't stars clusters, those are other galaxies, dude, it's a lot bigger than we think. um, Little things like that to make you go, whoa. James Pott blew a battery once with a homemade charger. The bang was like an air bomb. Yeah, those, some can really, really go. And I still don't know how or why. It's not like you can look up a paper on which cells explode and which ones just vent violently. Oh, for everybody, battery space Mooch in front of any questions or anything you want me to see. So I get a bright red tag so it's easy for me to see. Otherwise, I might miss it. You don't need a hashtag. You don't need an @sign. Just battery space Mooch. Maverick Gaming. I need to unwrap and rewrap my 18650s because of a leaky tank. I got e-liquid under the green wrap on my VTC 5Ds. What are the best way to clean and what precautions should I take? Oh boy, just that's a long list. You just slightly damp paper towels with alcohol. Just wipe them dry, and then slightly damp with alcohol, just to get the rest of the residue out. Um, Once you have a bare cell, don't let it touch anything. Just picture it rolling. Where would it end up? Because you've got the positive negative exposed to the positive end, easily short circuit. I've had this happen. So just be incredibly careful. To work in a plastic tray, I don't know, something. Just to realize that these batteries cannot roll anywhere or touch each other, anything like that. Um, the rest, I mean, there are other precautions. Really, use your best judgment. Once you're realizing you've got an exposed battery and you can't let it touch anything. And don't get it hot while you're rewrapping. A little bit warm's okay. If they're getting more than a little warm, stop, come back in half an hour, finish it off. But don't hold your hair dryer out here. You can get in close because you can go 3 times faster. Even though the battery's warming up quicker, you can go so much faster that it doesn't heat the battery up. Vaping Irish. Oh, I got one. Engineers have same qualifications as Stanton Glance. Yeek. I'm an engineer, dude. Um, Midwest Vapors always wanted a lipo mod, but either can't decide on what to go with. Um, it's hard to know. I mean, certainly a lot of choices, but I hope you find one you really love. Forrest asks, who should I buy Molly cell batteries from? Well, I mean, there are a lot of authorized vendors out there for us. I don't know what country you're in, but if you're in America, what's it, 18650 Battery Store, Lithium-Ion Wholesale. Um, I forgot which ones. I have to put up that list. I forgot which ones are the authorized vendors, but you can check in the description section for the vendors there and see which ones are the authorized vendors for Molicel. That is true, Justin. A fan goes a long way for cooling a battery charger. Absolutely. I've got one on my only charger that I have, an Opus. The rest are power supplies, which I use for charging, but one I have as an Opus that I use for just topping off cells a particular rate before they go into discharge testing, because I know it's just easily repeatable and I don't have to set the power supply each time. Midwest Vapor, are they an authorized vendor? I've forgotten. Yes or no? Maverick Gaming, no problemo. Spectre, NS5RD, thank you, sir, very much for the super chat. Mooch, you resonant converter topology using Mofo. I actually have that video on watch later. He is talking about EEV blog, one of my favorite channels. Dave from Down Under, and he's doing a tutorial on resident mode DC to DC converters. For those of you who don't know, that's no problem. It's nothing any of us need to know, really. But I'm looking farther and wider. Videos I wouldn't normally watch, now I'm watching. Just take your mind off things. Otherwise, I'm checking the news channel 25 times a day. Justin, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought maybe they just became one. IMR Batteries just became an authorized vendor. GDP, they're called Global Distribution Partner with MPE for selling molly cells. I think they might have just become one, but I'm not sure. Looking forward to checking some of the comments for this video because I'm hoping there's some spectacular trolling. Hometown Guy says if you stick a battery up your butt and press your nose, you will fire. Love you, brother. Love you, brother. Battery Mooch. Thank you, sir. And thank you for the tip. I'll have to try that later. Now, so I'm guessing if I press my nose, what, the vapor comes out my ears? Because the back door will be clogged with the batteries. And what happens when I go series? And how series can I go? Can I go 6, 8, 10 cells in series or something? So, yeah, Encon is wonderful, but also Fogstar, Ecoluxshop, um, at 18650.uk, and some others. I don't remember these because I put them down in the description section so I don't have to remember these because there's so many other things to remember. Phil Lee says he doesn't need teaching how to troll you with a .07 on the Samsung 30Q. Now, is that trolling me or is that just making me go? Actually, I get so much of that from Asia now. I used to get a lot of it from Europe, but I get so much of that from Asia with saying, hey, because they'll use a 10 amp battery. So they have to build a .03 or .05, maybe the highest they'll go, in order to get anything to happen. Because the voltage sag is so severe, they're running a battery at like 2.5 volts or something with sag, and at 2.5 volts, you need a .03 to get any kind of power level. It's this vicious circle of what they have to do in order to get any kind of power to the coils. Justin says we supply NPE in Taiwan, who then supplies Lithium-Ion Wholesale, who then distributes to various retailers in the US. Okay. Vaping Irish says I have to start with 18350 for the backdoor mech work. I guess that makes me a mech or biologic vaping. Tracy Thompson, Battery Mooch, how are you tonight? I fried, fried. Uh, Stress that I figure most of the planet's experiencing right now, and trying to set up some things, some particular concerns with the family and some things. But thank you for asking. I hope you're doing well, and I hope everyone's coping as well as possible. Dave Kahn, well, if it's dual coil, you'll get vapor from both ears. Ah, good point. Thank you, sir. After 26,650, you end up with the 32,650. Yeah, and that starts being fun and vapor filled. Lapa Palanut Denzo. Lapun. Lapun Palanut Denzo. What has happened to a battery that has leaked some stuff out of positive end but still charges when put on a charger? Number one, stop. Never use it again. Ever, ever don't charge it. What's happening is that's toxic, number one, the liquid. Number two, you're begging for something to catch fire with that battery because the tiny spark putting it out or something will ignite that flammable solvent that's leaking out of the positive end. And if you get a spark in the positive contact, it's right there. So stop. That battery will dry out and fail. So just don't use it. The electrolyte, once it's opened up, the electrolyte will evaporate out, the battery will fail. Okay, VTR and Joker. Battery space mooch at the front. To see it, I may have missed this. What's the best 18650 to run on a Smoke P3 mod? I don't know anything about the Smoke P3, and there's no best one, but up to 45 watts per battery, 90 watts and two battery mod. Try a Samsung 30Q or a Murata or Sony VTC6 up to 75 watts or 150 watts and two battery mod. Try a Molicell P26A or a Sony Murata VTC5A or VTC5D. If you're up to like 90 watts or 180 watts and a two battery mod, Samsung 20S. Mitch Cook, which of your vids explains using rebuildables on an internal battery mod with no wattage control? Should I use Ohm's law or something else? So your own coils, your own builds. So you're in like variable voltage mode or bypass mode. Then you use Ohm's law because essentially you have a protected mech then. So 4.2 volts, touch of a safety margin, 3.7 volts to be closer, but you just use 4.2, and then adjust from there. Depending on your degree of risk you're willing to take, performance loss, aging of the battery, etc. El Denzo, no problem. Ruff McGruff, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We've got some time. And yeah, we're down to about half the normal audience. That's what I figured, because I'm getting about half the normal number of views on the other videos that I upload on it. The big boys will always get the big numbers, but I think things like the news and Frozen 2, I think you can stream now from Disney. Things like that will always take over the smaller channels. Scott Botfoot, how many stories tall is the building that you're in? Here, our tallest building I've ever seen is 11 stories. The one I'm in is 16 stories. I'm in a neighborhood called the Upper West Side of Manhattan. 1926 pre-war building, beautiful. 12-inch thick walls, 18-inch thick floors, terracotta inside the walls, and the floors is cement, and then hardwood flooring over that. You really got to make some noise for anybody to realize they have a neighbor. It's wonderful, and the architectural details for the building and the rooms, etc., are wonderful too, being a pre-war building. But let's see. In my building, it's 16 floors. Is it 23 floors at the corner, about 32 floors at another corner, and then of course, many times higher than that, depending where you are in Manhattan. Justin says, that's odd. I thought you'd get more views or more people off work. Yeah, but these kind of videos are much lower down the priority list versus news because everyone is so worried and things that they're watching with their family on it, the entertainment, because this is dinner time. So a lot of people fire up a dinner movie with the family. Dave Flowers, welcome, sir. Chasing Clouds and Flavor Review says it's watching from work. Well, thank you from doing that. Scott Bogfoot, have you ever been uh, big cities, seeing the 50-story, 100-story buildings and things like that, or not yet? Justin says, Grim Green says to stop watching so much news. If it's really important, it'll be at the top of Reddit. There you go. That assumes we'll be checking Reddit or et cetera and so forth. I never noticed any of the news things on Reddit. I go to ECR, hit new posts, take a little peek. That's it. But so much, what comes up nationally is not going to be addressing what I'm concerned about. What's coming up in New York? Roy Godin, welcome, sir. Fist bump back to you. Yeah, I think what actually, something I'd said earlier, because I was thinking that what I should also be practicing, I was saying what other people are doing is getting more of Hans Peter Milano, hello, is checking out some of these other videos and stuff like that, getting my own distraction and listening to my own advice. Ubermensch says the front page of Reddit is the Fox News of the internet. Rick Mahoney, I haven't been getting notification for lives in a couple of days, so that could be why you don't have as many viewers. Oh, possibly. Possibly. Yeah, I mean, it took several minutes before YouTube even set in my own list of videos for my own video to pop up on top of that. Scott Bogfoot, never been off the island of Newfoundland. I think I would have had a panic attack if I was Manhattan. Excuse me, I've had friends tell me that, they can just never come to New York, just the noise and everything. But there's also some stunningly wonderful, amazing, quiet areas. It's all about timing and which location at which time. You go to Prospect Park, Central Park, or near me, where I am, Riverside Park. You can hear the squirrels going through the grass. That's how quiet it is. But again, yeah, it would be a shock, to not find any buildings or find only a few buildings lower than the tallest building where you are would probably be quite an interesting change. I had friends visiting from Romania one summer, and it was funny because I really didn't think about it, but we were at the corner of Central Park, and they looked up and they went, "Oh my God, that's a wall of buildings." Because you have this wide open park, 843 acres of just nothing but you know beautiful trees and grass and lakes and ponds, etc. And all of a sudden, it's just the wall of buildings where Midtown starts at 59th Street. And I looked up and went, "Oh, you're right. That is a wall." I never really noticed, but to see the city through their eyes was really cool. Midwest Vapor says, "What did you do before becoming Battery Mooch?" Since 1992, I've been designing power electronics for my clients full time and work from home. I've never had a full 9 to 5 job in my life. I did work uh, permanent part time for Hewlett Packard Corporation in the mid 80s to the early 90s, and it didn't work out. It was there. We were working me towards mini computer sales. That's what Hewlett Packard back had then. Mini computers, the $250,000 things that fill up an entire room. Uh, didn't work out. I decided to try a couple of career choices. I was a professional photographer for 6 years, and then realized I want to go back to my old love, and that was electronics. And started doing work for Sports Illustrated, National Geographic, U.S. Army, Eastman Kodak Company. I was a preferred vendor for their professional products division, and that changed and matured and grew into what I'm doing now. Batteries have always been part of that, testing them or doing something for batteries, protection systems, monitoring systems, things like that, electronic loads to discharge and test batteries. So all of that became intertwined. So I had that background knowledge, and once I started vaping, saw what batteries and the ridiculous ratings were being used, I got angry and started testing batteries to expose some of that crap. Ah, Chasing Clouds in Favor of You says he always loves listening to lives while work, and a Bluetooth headset is a blessing. It can be. I'm so happy I got this freaking thing to not have that cord coming out to the phone that I always end up grabbing and ripping the bud out of my ear. Dave Flowers recently obtained 20 of the VTC 4s. My first bit of Sony. I usually buy all Samsung. It's pretty good at sell. Yeah, yeah. It's older technology. It's eclipsed by some others, but it's still a solid, 23 amp cell or so. At happiest, like any 20, 25 amp cell, happiest a little bit below that. But yeah, they're still good cells. If you can get them at a great price. I mean, I never shop by price because you have a battery for 2 years, so I just shop by performance. But there's nothing wrong with any of the VTCs. Maverick Gaming. Dang, man, I didn't know you lived in Manhattan. Stay safe and wish you the best, bud. Thank you very much. Justin, do you have enough TP? Yeah, because I've always bought 12 or 24 rolls at a time. I just, you get a, whenever I run out, I get a case of paper towels, case of toilet paper, because I've got massive closets in this pre-war apartment. It's a smaller apartment, but the closet square footage is huge compared to other apartments in Manhattan. So I can afford to get stuff. So I was pretty well stocked up on that. I think, since this is going to be really, really bad for at least 4 months before, it gets back down to just plain old bad, I'm going to have to place an order in some time, but hopefully people are starting to stock up again. Jeff Black, the news is also causing more panic. True, but it's also raising awareness too, because otherwise people would be Completely ignorant of thing. I still see people gathering in groups, and you see the news broadcasts of people just hanging out like nothing's going on. You're like, that's what's going to make a bad situation a total living nightmare. That casual spreading, like, oh, I don't have any symptoms. When it gets really bad, I'll stay home. No, the way to keep it from being really bad is to stay home now. Unfortunately, I mean, that's just the way all these things work. Once we started testing people in New York, we got a little hint about just how widespread it was, and it's incredible. It's huge, and they've had to back off in the testing because people were coming out of their homes sick to stand in line. No, for hours to get tested. So they're like, no, 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 no. If you're hospitalized, you can get tested. Otherwise, not. But now that's going to hide the numbers, the true numbers of people infected, which means we're going to think it's not as bad as it really is in New York. So people are going to head out again to the stores and stuff. That oh, Danny Lewis wishes he could stay home, but got to work. Yeah, a lot of people are stuck with that. I'm at home for work anyway. I just wish I had any work. There's none, zero. Because all my clients are like, we're not starting any work. Beginning of the year is always a tough time anyway. People coming off the holidays, projects always end in the previous fiscal year, so there's always a ramp up. Starting around February, January, everyone's still in holiday mode, taking care of starting up their business again for the year. So, February, March, usually start talking about new business. Ha, that's gone. So there's really been nothing since the slowdown fourth quarter last year. So things are getting scary here. Phil Lee, the panic buyers will run out of places to store all the TP. There we go. And their hand sanitizer. You see a couple posts, people with 50 bottles of sanitizer and dozens of rolls of toilet paper and stuff. I guess it'll be currency. You can trade it for food later or something. Mike Berg, welcome, sir. And itching, massive hay fever issues. I'm next to a beautiful, huge park, and the maple trees are blooming like crazy. And guess what gives me hay fever? Maple. So just itching everywhere, and I just don't want to be on antihistamines 24 hours a day. That messes me up. And of course, every sneeze or every cough, you're like, maybe not the sneezes, but the coughs make me go, uh-oh, or the scratchy throat I get from hay fever. I got vaping iris. It's got food. It's got leaves. I ain't trading it for TP. There we go. Scott Bogfoot, have you ever been anybody's phone a friend on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Oh, I see. No, no. No, I'd be terrible for that. I've tried to play that game and I'm miserable at it. Pretty bad with Jeopardy too. These people are brilliant. A friend of mine, excuse me, I should an acquaintance of mine, someone who I know, has been. I think was no, wasn't on Jeopardy, but um, does that scene, is in with that crowd, and I think he's been trying to get onto Jeopardy for a while, but does a lot of those types of shows and stuff like that, and unbelievable knowledge that they have. I could never absorb that much. Well, I guess I could, but my neurons are already filled with completely useless stuff to do with electronics, and there's no room for other things. Scott Bogfoot is a Jeopardy nut. I get it in waves. I'll watch every night for 2 weeks, and I'm like, eh. Justin asks if I ever thought about doing regular vape reviews of hardware. Yes and no. Yes, but only in terms of safety, the battery rating, quality of manufacture, and stuff like that. In fact, I was working towards that at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, getting discussions and thinking with manufacturers, thinking about um, how would it be structured, the videos that I would do, or whether I not do a video, I'd just be a write up, and that's all shot to heck. So it wouldn't be a subjective review, though. And I'm just not interested in it. I'm not interested in testing mods like that, using them, and uh, it just doesn't appeal to me as much as ripping it open, diving in, and leaving the interface and all the other stuff to everybody else, and just saying, okay, look, this has some obvious safety issues, or this battery's junk, or hey, whoa, this thing is built beautifully. Uh, knowledge that things that the other reviewers don't do. I think that would help my channel and the stuff to stand out in an otherwise very, very crowded um, market scene. I'm really dry mouth today. Hey, everybody, tip. Phil Lee has TP if you need it, dollar a square, plus P&P, postage, and not sure, but that is cheap compared to what it goes for here in New York. Rough McRuff is pretty good at the kids Jeopardy. I don't think I've ever tried that one. I tried the Teen Champion, and I didn't feel humiliated. The Teen Champion week or whatever, I didn't feel humiliated, but I didn't do really well. Um, I think I got like one all the way down, and I'm like, yes! You feel like a winner, turn off the TV or change channels before something else humiliates me. Midwest Vapor. Yeah, like internal battery mods. You know, external battery mods, testing those, but internal ones, especially things like the quiescent current, what a lot of people call parasitic current. Excuse me. You know, if you don't like the Yehi chips draw 2 milliamps went off, 48 milliampere hours a day, 480, almost 500 milliampere hours after a week and a half. If you forget to charge your batteries, and it's got one of those regular Yehi regulator board in it, you could badly overdrain your batteries in a week and a half of just putting a mod aside or something. So doing those kind of tests just to warn people, like the dot mod, the 200 watt, or I forgot which one, but a couple of years ago, that had not 2 milliamp, but that had a pretty decent, um, totally powered down quiescent current or parasitic current draw that would screw up batteries if you left them in storage for a few months, which is what happened to a vendor. And what led to me being contacted, because they had a whole bunch of mods, and dot mod was like, "Whoa, you did something wrong." And I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 no. Come on, guys. You knew these things draw this much current. You have to warn the vendors. You can't just order 50 of them and leave them in storage for a couple of years. You've got to get your stock out in a certain amount of time." Phil Lee, P&P is postage and packing. Gonna be, yeah, it'd be $30 plus a dollar a square. Well, they have to order like, 500 rolls from you or something like that. Vaping Iris says that's why I keep saying more manufacturers need to add a hard on-off switch. I miss those. There were a few mods, 2017, maybe 2018, there were a few mods with the switch on the bottom, but it's more cost. People aren't asking for it. And most devices have a low enough quiescent current draw, but the E-high chips are really popular and the brutal. And until enough people complain, they're not going to add it because it's cost and time. And a lot of people would complain that they got to turn the switch on and off, though I guess you can just leave it on, and 5 click or 3 click it off. Justin says, here's the Costco's in Utah have mountains at TP. Could be, could be. Road trip. Well, I can get there. Actually, there's no traffic. Well, it would take normally a couple hours just to get out of New York. Get out of New York in 5 minutes now. Vaping Iris's Dopo used to have the hard on-off switch. I'm trying to remember, I have such a clear picture of somebody's hard off on-off switch. Certainly, if I did a regulated mod, I'd have that. Um, I don't know, behind a door of some kind. Why have a door then, just for a switch? No, I would have the door just for the switch. So it wouldn't be in the bottom exposed. You pop the door, flip the switch, and close it. And those who want to leave it on can just leave it on. They don't see it. They don't even know it's there. Not interested in doing a regulated mod though. The boards that are out there now, as good as they can be. My board would be 4 by 4 inches. It would last you the rest of your life, but it'd be big and real expensive. I'm not interested in the compromises being made that have to be made for a much smaller board. Though Evolve has done a spectacular job. I'm sure they would love more room, but they've done some really good engineering. And actually, other manufacturers have too. I shouldn't. I'm not putting down any other manufacturer, but I just know more about the Evolve boards because I've looked at them closer. Scott Bogfoot asked, "Do batteries react differently at different atmospheric weather altitude conditions?" Certainly for temperature. But in terms of altitude, they shouldn't, since they're hermetically sealed. Um, terms of moisture levels, no, unless it's, condensation or dripping or something like that on them. But for temperature, yeah, big difference. They run more efficiently when they're slightly warm, which is why the fourth hit on a battery in a mech can actually hit harder than the first hit on a battery in a mech. Uh, but certainly if a battery is cold, you can lose a lot of performance. Philly says you need a hard on-off switch on internal battery mods more than external. Yeah, I wouldn't even bother with external. I mean, okay, it's slightly convenient. People don't want to take the batteries out, but take the batteries out anyway. It's just a good practice. You never know when you're the one in a million who might have an issue. And it keeps the kids from using the thing too if you're sleeping, or the pets from chewing on it, et cetera, and so forth. Jason Barrow, Squid Industries detonator has an on-off switch. That's still being made? Or am I thinking of the wrong one? So I'm remembering that as something that came out in like 2018 or something. It gets very confusing, especially since I don't buy a lot of mods. I'm not a reviewer for mods, so I don't get shipped a lot, and I just don't. I'm not looking at all the what web pages and Facebook and Instagram and all that to see what the announcements are. I see a few reviews I have time for to maybe look at the title coming from Mike Vapes and Grim and Vape and Fagan and Matt and everybody else who I'll see the titles, but that doesn't stick with me a lot. Oh, Chris, you're probably right. Double barrel. I think you're right. Thank you. Midwest Vapor. I think I answered the question. Would I ever consider designing a mod? Yes, but it'll probably be a mech or protected mech. Maybe more likely. Don't know. I'm very much a fan of industrial minimalism, if that's a genuine term. Austere, very, just maybe a little bit of a shape or wasting, but otherwise, I like stainless steel. So the concept of a high performance stainless steel mod really appeals to me, mech mod. In terms of regulated, I probably use someone else's chip. I hate that word, but I use it now. Someone else's regulator board. Dicodes, I don't think, just be too expensive. Maybe not. Depending who makes my device anyway, it would already be expensive. But I don't have much of a design aesthetic for, I think, a mod, something like a charger, something like that. But for a mech, I think I can put more of myself into it. Um, and certainly in terms of the contacts and stuff, to have a stainless mech be quote high performance unquote, if it's possible. I don't know if it's possible to remove the 4 watts of power loss you might get in the mech, 3 watts of power loss in the mech. You get it down to like a quarter of a watt, it's like Copper Admiral has. Maverick Gaming, thanks again for the advice on rewrapping. Gotta run. Stay safe, everyone. Maverick, thank you for joining us. We got about 10 minutes left here. I don't know why I keep doing this to look at the clock over there when the time is right here. And I notice I do that every week. There's definitely a mental defect there. Chris Mady said he'd buy a Mooch mech. Thank you, sir. For that, it would be mad expensive because it'd probably be American made. I guess I could team up with a China company because if it's protected mech, I'd want the board to be inside to be done well, but made inexpensively. They're getting pretty good at some of the mechs and some of their machining quality, but it appeals to me to have an American-made mech. That just the sound of that, I like that, and there's a good talent here, and you'd want to be able to support that. But it's got to be something people would buy too. $300 Mooch mech, and how can you go wrong with that name? Um, appeals to me also. Not the $300 part, but the Mooch mech part. Tracy Thompson, I'll catch the rest on replay. I'm sorry I have to jump off of here. Going to eat dinner with the wife and kids. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. May you and your family stay safe. Team up with Kennedy from X. There you go. Oh, and Justin said it too. The Mooch 21. I'd go for a 32,650. 2 soda, in series, of course. Just 2 soda cans. Obviously, I have compensation issues. The BM mech. Ooh, kind of like that. Remind me for if I use that, contact me for a share of the profits. I'll never remember that. I'll try to cut you off, but then, blast me publicly, I'll come crawling back to you begging for forgiveness and send you a check. Lopum Palanut Benzo. Whoa. Did I even come close there? That flowed nicely. Do you know why a charger flashes all lights when you put a battery in some slots, but charges normally on a couple slots? I don't know. Some chargers don't like if you make, connection, loose connection. Like if you put it in kind of bouncing or loose that's making and breaking connections, that can confuse some chargers. All lights means, I think, totally charged. If you've got a battery almost fully charged, or like you charged it and then you're putting it back in the charger, different slots have slightly different voltages: 4.20, 4.21, 4.195. So what might not charge in one slot might charge in another. Otherwise, it might be just making or breaking a connection quickly. See, I looked at the clock and it's right here. Making breaking connections to fool it. It depends on the charger, and I don't remember enough about the chargers I tested, dozen plus chargers, to be able to say for sure what's going on with your charger. Tracy would also buy the Mooch mech. Awesome. The bowel movement mech. Yes, that's what the BM mech would be. Or the Bat mech. No, that sounds like a bad TV show. Bat Mooch mech, BM mech. Yeah, BM mech. Yeah, yeah. Older generation would thinking that's bowel movement. Yeah, I'm not liking that anymore all of a sudden. El Denzo says that was actually really close. Thank you. Chris is still loving the clutch. Yeah, me too. That's a nice mech. Scott Bogfoot, what is the wrap on AACD, etc. made from? Cardboard, and what's underneath? Metal can. And the ones I've seen, I think like Duracells, some are heat shrunk, but I think like the Duracells I saw, it's a self-adhesive wrap. And really, really hard to take off. Um, but they're just not using them in the ways that we are in terms of the top and the edges exposed and stuff like that, that they get peeled off. But the self-adhesive wraps stick really well. But those are harder to put on. They're probably more expensive, for us to be able to use. And you really need the top contact to stick up a lot. So the top contact's up here and the rest of the battery is down lower. So as you're sliding it out, it's not rubbing against the negative part of the battery here, but it's only rubbing against the positive part. But oh, plastic, by the way. Vaping Irish, every episode would have to involve solving crime by inventive use of the battery. Sounds like you guys are talking about a series of some kind. Forrest asks or says, had two Galisi 21700s fail, drained to zero, got hot when I tried to charge them. They were fairly new and not abused. Um, you check the comments for my latest video. Those are everyone's reports for failures. I think there were one or two reports for Galeazzi's 2700 or 21700s. They didn't stand out as failing, but those some of the China cells are hand spot welded at bottom inside and at the top inside. So that can result in inconsistencies. And I bring this up in why my batteries fail video that I put up recently. So that may have been what happened. If they got really hot when you charge them, it sounds like there may be a bad spot weld now that's only at a certain point, touching a little bit of metal, creating tremendous amounts of heat from the high resistance. So don't charge them anymore. They're ruined. Get rid of them. Um, if it's hot on the outside, it's much, much hotter in certain hot spots on the inside. Otherwise, it had a PTC, positive temperature coefficient disk in there that tripped. It's a temperature sensitive material that changes to very high resistance if the battery reaches about 135 degrees Celsius. That can trip and sometimes doesn't go back to low resistance all the way when it cools off. That can mean the battery heats up more, doesn't perform well, but I'm more inclined to think it's inconsistent spot weld. Got 3 or 4 more minutes. Shock batons would be Bat Mooch's weapon of choice. There we go. I had a Kyogre many, many years ago. The baton, the extendable baton. They were illegal here in New York. I think they still are, but there's some interesting neighborhoods I had to go into occasionally. Mike Burr also had a Galeazzi 21700 go bad. It may just be then the spot weld. I'm trying to remember. The 26650 is a Young DeLee New Energy cell. Um, I don't remember what their other cells were. I think I never identified any of the factories for those. Oh, Forrest did get rid of them. Good, 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 good. Mooch. They'd watch Mooch. I'm curious as to what you guys talking about a series I should be running here. Am I missing a revenue opportunity? Should I be coming up with a crime series, a detective series? What do you guys say? Every crime is solved with an inventive use of a battery. All 46 viewers that I got each week for that. Can't imagine. I don't know. I guess if I went really wild with it, had a insane kind of character or something like that, the battery mooch of super blokes, a kind of character or something. Well, then I can get millions of views. Dakota Simon, welcome in for the last 2 minutes. Thank you for joining us. I read somewhere the positive on the Molly cells are pretty thin. Did you notice that when testing? No, not at all. I haven't seen that yet. The Muratas and Sonys have had thinner ones. The LGs have always been pretty thick and with 4 legs too. But the Molly cells, I haven't noticed that on them. But you get them in a mech with really nice smooth threads, and it's really easy to apply extraordinary pressure in a mech. And some regulated mods are just ridiculous with the amount of pressure they provide too. It's just not needed. Battery bloke. There we go. I like that. Duncan Yo-Yo. Thank you. Maybe that'll be the April Fool's thing. Actually, I'm writing that down because there might be an opportunity here if I ever get my sense of humor back. Battery bloke for April Fools. Phil Lee, did you identify where iJoy 26650s were made? You'd have to check my reviews. I haven't touched them in a long time. I think by the time they changed it the third time, I just gave up. I think one of them may have been Young DeLee, New Energy Company, but the other ones, I don't think I knew where they came from and started to not care because they were just changing them so often. Scott Bogfoot, thank you. Great show. Crime Fighting Mooch could carry batteries on a shotgun shell belt. There we go. Cross bandoliers maybe across the chest, something like that. 20. You know what? 21700s may be a good fit for a shotgun shell belt. You're right. And let's give it one more question or 60 seconds, whichever pops up first. Do not want to intrude on none of the Vape Show and their plethora of topics, which they will just flood and let them wash over you tonight. Mm. Running out of water too. I don't know why my mouth is so dry today. Probably because the freaking heat is on. I forget how dry that makes me. The ones that kept changing were the 2700s. No, were they? Oh, sorry, you are correct. I don't remember where the 26650s came from, Phil. Sorry, I screwed up that one. Screwed up that one. Don't remember. Um, no, I'm drawing a blank. You'd have to check my test reports. Link to my blog at ECF in the description section. Chris, I did like you calling in the last show. Ah, okay. Yeah, I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What are we people talking about here? Let me get on this. I was going to go back and listen to it. I totally forgot to do that. Okay, we're at 7:59. We are going to say good night. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, trolls, if you're watching, if you're still here, for coming here for a couple of tips how to devastate me. And looking forward to see some of the new inventive trolling that I get. And for everybody else, thank you again. And take care. I'll see you on chat for another Vape Show. Good night.